Welcome back to our channel. Yeah. It's Saturday and we both wearing batik, and I guess from the batik it's the cultural thing from Indonesia. We know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it is all about cultural differences.
Yeah, we're just going to have kind of like a discussion about cultural differences and cultural shock when we coming from two completely different side of the world.
Yeah.
So.
You want to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
I always curious about. I know that you grew up in a very, not very, but kind of quite Catholic family, and then I know that your mom is okay with us. What about your other family members, including probably your granny, who is kind of still conservative? I think she was very conservative about religion and culture, no?
Well, okay. Most of the main family, like my brothers and my sisters, they're kind of like, yeah, that's grand. Don't worry about it. We don't really care. As long as you're happy, we're happy. But my sister probably had the most to kind of be like, you better not be some terrible person. And it wasn't anything to do with culture with me. She just doesn't like people being terrible people.
Yeah.
And me bringing them into the home. So there was that. In terms of my granny, she was like very conservative. She was fine with you being Muslim. She was.
So she actually knows that
she knew, she knew you were Muslim, but she was just kind of like, "Well, you're not going to change that, Conor." And she was at an age that I didn't want to lie to her, and I didn't want to, give her a heart attack. So I'm just like,
So you didn't
never actually answered.
You never actually answered.
No, but I let her believe what she wanted to believe, and then I went on with my life the way I wanted to live my life, without harming anyone. No one was harmed in this message.
Yeah, but like when your granny did not want you to convert, did she know that you actually
already?
Yeah, I mean that you practically when she was still alive, like you already started to learn about Islam.
Oh yeah, and it was well on my road.
And before that, did your granny knew that you were actually kind of like losing faith?
No.
Okay.
I kind of let the granny believe what she wanted to believe, and didn't bother her with the whole crisis of faith thing, because that would have been a big thing for her, being a devout Christian.
Yeah.
And like at her age, she found her faith and was like very adamant in her faith, and I didn't want to poke anything at it, so I just I left that topic where it was, away from me. So it spared a lot of drama that no one wanted.
Yeah. So actually, like your family have no objections that you're dating an Asian.
Oh, zero. No, none of them.
Yeah.
All of them expected me to date an Asian woman of some form.
But have you ever dated Asian woman before?
But they just presumed that's the way it was going to go. I don't know.
Well, for me, I dated white guy before. So.
Yeah. Well, I can attest that I didn't.
I know. And I always kind of like not kind of like afraid that won't be accepted in your family, but you know that we have a lot of different traditions and different beliefs, or kind of like a practical thing, like in the house, like we never wear shoes or sandals or slippers or whatever, and then the fact that house, like our floor in the house always need to be clean. There's no house, there's no kind of like dirt and something like that. I know that you guys wearing shoes in the house.
A lot of Western houses wear shoes in the house, and when I'm at home, generally I do not wear shoes in the house.
Because
and that was
he's an exception.
Yeah, that was years from before I met her, because at my mate's house, he was Polish, and he said like, you don't wear shoes in the house. And
also Polish, they never wear shoes as well.
I can't speak for all of them, but my friend's house definitely they didn't. And I remember his mother like shouting at me when I walked in once with shoes on, and like this woman at the time didn't have much English, but was absolutely terrifying, and it scared the crap out of me. So I just never wore shoes in a house again, and it has stuck with me to this day. So.
Yeah, but like I don't know, it's a big thing as well. Like first thing it's about like the cleanliness and the hygienic and everything, you know. And then the second one, if you are in shoes in my house, my mom always says, you did not appreciate me because like I'm the one who cleaned the floor, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, we never really deliberately wearing shoes to the house though, but you know, like we have cats.
Yeah.
They don't wear shoes outside.
So they don't appreciate what she's done for the floor.
No, but we love the cats. So. And yeah, but also like my mom, a little like she knew that I always going for something different. I mean, it's not only kind of like a partner preferences, but like since I was a child, like I grew up in a very very small town, but my parents, like they, especially my dad, he speaks English, he speaks Japanese, and he listened to English music. My mom listened to English music as well, and my kind of like my music taste is already all about Western. Now this is a stereotypical, but when I was a child thinking about Western countries and white guys, it's always about power and supremacy or something like that. Like I feel like if I'm into Western culture, I'm cool. You know, it's like I don't know how you perceive Asian in the Western, but like at least for me, and when I feel like when I was only in primary school, I listened to English music. I speak a little bit of English with my dad. I feel like I'm the coolest girl in the school, and I feel like I only listen to English music. You know, like so like. But now when I grow up, like God, I love my Asian root and my Asian culture. Even though like I still listen to it, English music. But so yeah, what is Asian perceived in your household at least? I know that you cannot speak for Irish.
I can't speak for Ireland.
Yeah.
But in my household, like I was always the guy who was big into Asian culture, be it like Japan, China, and all those. Huh?
Are you Weeaboo?
No. But yeah, it definitely had influences from like the shows I watched growing up and stuff like that were on like an old show called Jet X, which is like my go-to place until it like disappeared and turned into like Disney or something like that. Quite a sad day. But like you had loads of old shows that were heavily influenced by Asian culture. That was kind of like it was just ingrained that this is the cool thing. So it was kind of like the same as you. Like growing up, I thought Asian culture was cool because I was living in Western culture. I thought it was boring. And then as I got older, it hasn't really changed. It's still not super.
So you still think that we are cool?
I still think that Asian culture is cool. I'm not really too fussed about Western culture. It just feels kind of bland. Well, that's for me in my opinion. But obviously other people will feel differently about it.
Yeah.
That's your prerogative.
Yeah. But you know, also like before I came into Ireland, like I think most of the girls in Indonesia thinking that dating white guy or having a white guy partner will change their life. I don't know, like this is very kind of like very very wrong opinion, but they think that once they date or marry the white guy, their life will be so much better. Better money, better children, because like they always say, I want to marry the white guy so like my children will have fairer skin, like a pointy nose and taller kids, you know, because like most of us like we have like darker skin and we're kind of like short as well. So like it's always about like when people have like a white guy preferences, they think that their life is going to change into so much better thing. I did believe that, but when I came into Ireland for my study, it's not always true, you know, like in every country there's always bad guy, good guy, and good prospect, bad prospect. It's not always all white guy bringing good prospect.
Yes, it'd definitely be a very poor stereotype to have that all white guys are great. There's definitely a couple out there that are terrible people, but like it's not speaking for all white people. I'm sure like you just go out, you meet a nice guy.
Yeah.
Would be the best to do it. Not just go for just the white guy for all the privileges that you think you might have.
Yeah, that's a sad reality. So even until now, I still kind of like got some question or some kind of like a statement that they wanted to marry a white guy. At some point, like I didn't know why, because I wasn't all into white guy as well. Like I dated various guy. I'm such a bold girl. I mean that I dated Indonesian, I dated Arabic people, I dated white guy as well. The only, like I don't really. Back then, I always wanted to date white guy, yes. But when I grew up, that's not always the reality.
Yeah, you didn't want to date an Irish guy at all. At all. Like,
ask me why. Yeah, like.
It's just one of the first things that she said to me when we met is, I just don't want to date an Irish guy. Full stop. End of story.
Were you
Joke's on you.
when I said it to you on the first time we knew each other, were you thinking that you're going to pull out? I mean that you're going. Yeah, I'm just going to.
No, it didn't even faze me whatsoever.
Yeah.
I knew what I was going to do, and I knew that after a while, that I didn't know if you wanted to date me for me or if you wanted to date me for other reasons, and not judge me because I'm an Irish guy, which is.
Go ask
not
me
gonna
why.
lie.
Ask me why.
Why?
Why did I don't know, like I always say it to my friends, I never want to date Irish guy. Even though like I live in Ireland, never, no Irish guy for me. Because in my stereotype, Irish are drinkers. They drink alcohol like they drink water for me. The second, I have kind of like this belief that Irish guy always takes so long to kind of like commit into serious relationship. Like, so if I wanted to marry an Irish guy, I'm too old for that, because like then I will have to wait for another 10 or 15 years until he proposed to marry me, so like no. And then I also heard that Irish guys, I'm sorry, I know this is the stereotypical, it's changed, I know that it's not always true because he is kind of like different from my belief. I think that there's some sayings that Irish guys are lazy. So I don't want to, but no, I know that you are not lazy. He's one of the most. He cleans the house like freak.
I'm a neat freak. I'm not a freak.
Yeah, I mean like he's a neat freak, probably your OCD kind of thing. And it doesn't take him long time to convince that he's serious with his relationship.
Couple of weeks maybe, at most.
I know. And then in just like not even 1 year, just a few months or maybe a few weeks. Like you say, all of your perspectives about this guy are wrong. Because like you show me the opposite things.
But that's how that went.
But we did not always all love it off it. Like at the very beginning, I knew that when I decided I was about to date him, I'm going to be in a big trouble. Not kind of trouble, probably a big problem, or I don't know, with my parents. Because like they expected me to settle down in Indonesia. They wanted me to kind of like have just a serious relationship. And they did not expect me to date a white Irish guy, let alone having a tattoo.
Yeah.
And non-Muslim back then.
It must have made quite the impression. Like I say, what was their opinion of me? This white guy covered in not covered, but his arm covered in tattoos.
Well, like my parents generally, they not oppose the idea of marrying different man from different country or different culture. Like for my dad, like he also like used to work with a very multinational culture. Like he met a lot of people from around the world, and so like he's kind of like okay, you can date anyone from any other country, just one condition, he has to be Muslim. That's the only condition for my dad. Well, for my mom, she's more kind of like into mother, like she doesn't speak English, definitely. So like she thinks that if you married someone outside from Indonesia, I wouldn't be able to communicate with him. He thinks that I want someone who kind of like, she doesn't want to adjust to a new culture, like she just wants to kind of like having no effort to talk to that person, having not to explain our culture, our belief. He even said to me that I prefer you date a Sundanese man because like then everything is going to be easy. My mom more into kind of like she's not racist, but she just prefer everything just going to be easy if we are coming from the same place, same culture, you know. So when I said to her, I remember that we had a phone call for like 5 hours or so, something.
Yeah, it was a long one.
Yeah, that was the first time my mom recognized that I might seeing someone.
Yeah.
And then I remember like the morning I wake up, my mom asked me, "You did not sleep last night?" I did. And he said, "No, I woke up." So my mom she's woke up at 3 a.m. for tahajjud or for prayer.
Mm.
She's like, "No, I went to the bathroom. I heard you talking over phone. Who's that guy?" "Oh, just a friend from Ireland."
Yeah, I was just a friend for a while.
I didn't tell her. I didn't tell my mom something. Just a friend. My mom was, "Oh yeah, I know, because like you did not speak Indonesian, so it must be someone from outside of Indonesia." Yeah, just a friend. But I think after 2 weeks or so, she confronted me. "Who's that guy?" So I told them, and they, kind of like freak out. I always think.
Well, like, to be fair, there was a lot of me that was just kind of like, it looked very rebellious, and it looked like I was like bad guy, because I was tall, white guy, tattoos, and just didn't look the most nicest person in the world. I had a constant glare, I suppose. Don't know. But after a while, like after talking to them and stuff, they were fine with it. But
surprising, yeah.
first appearance definitely didn't build my confidence.
It's just because, like, you know, that tattoo in Indonesia culturally perceived as a bad thing.
Yeah, it's the same in like Japan. There's if you have tattoos, you look like you're part of a gang.
Yeah, that's kind of thing. That's why, like, when I had to explain to them that you had tattoo because like you were a very artistic person.
Yeah.
And I also explained to my mom that tattoo in Ireland doesn't mean that he's a bad guy or something. Like, people have tattoos just because they love art.
Mm.
You know, like it's different with Indonesia, because like in Indonesia, when you saw someone with tattoo, you suddenly think, "Oh, he's a bad guy" or "she's a bad guy."
Yeah,
You know?
well, like a long time ago, it would have been like that in Ireland, and definitely like the older generation still look down on tattoos. Like, my granny was not impressed whatsoever with my tattoo, and like she was Irish as well, but she was like 90 something, like
Yeah.
90. She was like 90 when I got my first tattoo, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like, I knew she wouldn't take it well, so I like wore long sleeves every time she came down to the house for about a month. And then one day she just waltzed in, and I had no idea she was there, and I like, oh, damn.
So she knew.
She walked in and said, "Why would you do that to yourself? You bold, bold boy." She wouldn't talk to me for a week. And she's like, "You're not going to do it again." And I'm like going, no. And not even a year later, I strolled in with another tattoo, and she shook her head at me. And she's like, "No point." And this one was like twice the size, and she was just like, "What are you doing? You're not getting any more." I'm like, "No, I'm not." So far, so good.
So far, so it's like, yeah, it's like I explained to my dad as well. I know that in Islam tattoo is kind of like haram. But my dad, as we said, he's the most amazing guy ever. Like, he said to me, well, he got his tattoo before he knew Islam, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So my family, the most important thing for me is my parents' opinion. And then so far, my parents' opinion about him is just, they love Conor now. They kind of like, he impressed them. So like my mom now start talking to him, even to, like, with the help of my sister, translate it, and or sometimes me translate it. But now, like, she already accept him as part of the family, even though like we're not official yet. But like she knows that she's well accepted in my family now. I don't know in my big family, like a bigger family, because like in Asia we have a lot of family. Like, we have parents, sisters, brothers, and then we have a lot of uncles, a lot of aunties, and then a lot of grannies, a lot of granddads as well, and then a lot of cousins, and you know, you name it. Like, when I said to you that my family in total, in a grand family, probably around 100 or something.
Yeah, I think I hit maybe like 15, maybe. At a push, maybe. But like that's bringing in extended family, and then it's just kind of like it's a lot smaller here. So the sheer vast size of your family was definitely a bit of a shock, and I'm just like that's a lot of people to meet.
Yeah.
And at that point, we were planning a trip over. And then COVID. So
COVID.
I was going to be thrown knee deep into culture shock of, well, this is Indonesia, this is my entire family, and this is how things are here. And I was going to be, I'd say, pretty much in open waters with no real kind of boat around. So it was definitely going to be a sink or swim moment. But like, thankfully, it got postponed a little bit so that I can adjust more to it and learn more, so I don't feel so clueless in that situation.
Okay, what is the most fascinating you find out about my country or my culture or my tradition?
Your country,
Yeah, well, my culture in general, or my country.
Oh, I find one of the most interesting things about it is like in comparison to Ireland, is like if you're on like €800 over there a month, you're living well.
Yeah.
If you're on €800 here a month, you're pretty much in a cardboard box in the side of the M50. You're in trouble. Because you cannot live on anything less than like 600 a week here, especially in like
Dublin.
If you're in Dublin, you need to be earning serious money.
Yeah.
And I see it the whole time.
Yeah, see that's that's the thing as well. Like in Indonesia, like living cost is cheap, and comparing to Ireland, it's kind of like the gap is really huge. The living cost between Ireland and Indonesia. So as well, like when that's I explained to my parents as well how people live in Ireland. You know, like how well they are like comparing to Indonesia. Just because they got paid so high, but we paid tax a lot as well, and the living cost is really high. So like when I explained to my mom, like in Indonesia, probably in my small town with €300 a month, you will live quite well. But I said to my mom, when I was in Ireland, €300 is just kind of like my
weekly salary.
Like my weekly spending probably around like 300 something.
It definitely feels like there's a big gap there. So that's the one thing that I think would shock me the most going over is I'd go over with a rake of money for like a holiday.
Yeah.
And I'd be able to keep myself afloat for ages, like. Yeah,
I think that is the one of the reasons as well why a lot of Indonesian people thinking that bule or white guy are rich, especially them who has no chance yet to visit another country, because like Indonesia, especially Bali, we got a lot of tourists coming over, and because of the living cost is cheap, and they coming from Europe or from the US, when they come to Indonesia, they look really rich. Yeah. Because they have rake of money, like a lot of money, and people think, oh, if I marry a white guy, I will be rich as well. That's not always the case. Like,
so that's where that stems from.
I just want to say to my Indonesian audience, my living cost alone, me, because I'm not married yet, in Dublin is around 2,000 to 2,500 euro.
It's expensive.
Yeah, and it's probably in Indonesia around 50 million rupiah or something.
So it's definitely a big, it'd be a big shock to anyone.
Yeah.
Coming into, especially if you were coming from Indonesia, I think you'd have a big shock coming here, and a big kind of like, oh, it's not what I thought it was.
No.
The same as if we went to Indonesia, obviously.
Yeah.
We'd be shocked by, oh.
Yeah.
It's not all what I thought it was.
Yeah.
So it'd be a little more positive us going there because we'd have a rake saved up to go for a holiday.
Yeah.
But it'd take us like, depending on your job, it'd take you a while to save up what you need because the cost of living is so high.
Yeah. Okay. One last topic to discuss on this video.
Yeah.
Tell me about Irish culture that you're most proud of, because like in Indonesia, I don't know with other, but me and my dad knows that Ireland as a where the great musician coming from, because there's a lot of really famous and great musicians coming from Ireland. Like I grew up with Westlife and Westlife and the Course. My dad loved, like Irish music as well, like or Irish musicians.
Irish music is a completely different thing.
Irish musician, not Irish music. Irish musician. Yeah.
Irish music would be like jigs and reels. And
yeah,
that's very different than what you think it is.
Yeah, but like we know that when I told my friends or someone that I know I was going to Ireland, they think, oh, you're going to that great musicians country like where Bono, the Chorus, Cranberries, and Westlife definitely, because all of the girls love Westlife. So
the thing I'm most proud of, see, if it's not the music, I'd have to say it's probably just the landscape itself. Like there's a lot. Like if you go into the countryside of Ireland, it's like
amazing.
It's unbelievable. Like.
Yeah.
But like I've never really liked big cities, so countryside is where I belong, and it's where I want to go back to eventually when I'm older, have my own home. I'm gonna build it knee deep in the middle of nowhere, so that it's just peaceful and quiet, no neighbours and nothing. So you're ready for that. But that's kind of like that's what I'm most proud of in Ireland. Is you can go into the countryside and be sure that you're going to be left alone in the peace and quiet.
Yeah.
And like you're not going to be bothered by big road noise and stuff like that. Like in Indonesia, Jakarta would be like massive compared to Dublin.
I can't live in Jakarta as well. Like
yeah, the scale of it though would be unbelievable compared to Dublin. And I struggle with like just traveling to Dublin and stuff like that is just like a big thing for me. Traveling to any town bigger than like Carlow is a struggle because it's just so big, and I'm like, oh God, there's so many people. Whereas in the countryside you see maybe like 3 or 4 people. That's a day, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for that. But yeah, so that'd be the thing I'm most proud of, is like the music of the countryside.
Yeah, so like, do you sing? I'm not going to ask you to sing, but like. We always think that Irish always have like a great taste of art and music.
Well, like, not all Irish people sing the same as any people. Like you have people who can sing and you have people who can't sing, and they just happen to be from.
Well, it's just because we think that Irish people are always a great singer.
I don't know. I don't know if all Irish people are a great singer.
Are you?
A great singer?
Yeah.
That's up to interpretation. There you go.
Have you ever met one of the Irish musicians?
Have I? No.
Me neither. Like, he's not live in Dublin, that's understandable. I live in Dublin. I never see any.
You wouldn't really go around the street singing. You're probably off on tour or in their house avoiding, people.
I really want to. Oh yeah, this June or July there's a Westlife tour in Ireland as well. Yeah. I haven't bought the ticket, but
yeah,
maybe.
Anyway,
thank you for joining us in our video. And if you want us to talk about something else, you can just drop it in the comment and then see if we can chat about that later. And thank you for talking with me.
You're welcome.
And don't forget to what?
Subscribe.
Say it!
To subscribe and to hit that like button if you like it. There you go. Leave a comment to tell us what you want to talk about.
Yeah, and then don't forget to share our video.
Okay.
With your friends and family. Okay? See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.